All right, guys, welcome back. So now we are at a water treatment facility in Goldsboro. This is part of a class tour that we're going to get. This is part of the soil science class. Currently, we're just waiting for everybody to use the bathroom before we actually start the tour. I know it's been a while that I've been not recording or posted anything on YouTube, but I am slowly going to come back as things start to leverage down just a little bit more. But I thank everyone for being here today, and I can't wait to show what y'all get to see, especially informing the public the importance of the water system in this area, and then how it could work for other areas in the United States or in North Carolina.
Like the old outhouse, okay? There's a reason
Okay, this
why
is the
it went through the
professor.
ground, okay? Because it all the microbes over time breaks it down, works its way down through the soil profile, okay? The water is purified over time, works its way down through the water table. It wasn't long ago we talked about the reduction sequence. Microbes will first eat what? Oxygen. If oxygen is not present, they then chew on what? Nitrogen, denitrifiers, and then they go after magnesiums and all the irons and all that good stuff. So a lot of these fundamentals that we learned in class are actually done here, even through the filtering process. Sand as a way to help filter water, and then water management. That is something else that we talk about in soil science, and this is clearly a solid demonstration of water management.
For the water reclamation facility at Goldsboro, so what we do is treat the wastewater that comes in the plant. We have 26 lift stations throughout the city. Anything that goes down the drain goes to one of those pump stations and then gets relayed here.
Explain to them what a lift station is.
So, when you flush something down the toilet, down the drain, it just travels by gravity down a pipe to a little pump station. So there's 26 of them throughout the city, kind of deep hole, and there's going to be pumps down there that pump the water back up and then through a force main, and then it goes to either another pump station or directly here to the plant.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this is kind of what the water looks like being treated. So, ladies and gentlemen, it does stink. I do want to inform to you that it does stink, unfortunately.
Get in close.
I've never taken another.
Get in close.
Yeah, so this is the smelly part of the plant. So this is what we call it the influence structure. So this is where the raw wastewater initially enters the plant. Actually, if you look behind me, those are old bar screens that we had removed from our pump stations. So that's kind of what the older style looks like.
Oh wow.
You can see on that one over there, you can kind of see the bar racks. So that just catches the trash, and then that arm comes down and pulls it up and throws it into a dumpster. We just got those replaced with some new fancy ones. Yeah, like I said, this is the inflow structure. This is where all the raw wastewater comes from. That's actually coming directly from this arm. The rest of it comes in underground.
It's called an air something system. Callie, what you think?
I'm doing fine. I don't want to be wrong.
Oh, I'll erase it.
Back truck out here and they'll suck out most of it.
So what? So you just mentioned how you add air. You're bringing up some of that lighter stuff. Explain the filtering process here once again. All right. So once we add air, light stuff gets worked up.
It's just an air lift, so if you can look at the difference between the two. Like that one doesn't function very well anymore.
Okay.
It's supposed to have a big round plate, so as the air comes up, it's like an air roll is what they call it. So it's supposed to keep the light, fluffy stuff. Next circular structures is a basin, and we can direct the flow to we can change the flow to any one of the basins. So that's what those 4 meters are. So this is the one we call basin number 1. So like I said, there's 4 different treatment trains. What we're going to see here is happening at each one of the other 3. This is our airflow meter. So right now, we're pumping about 670 cubic feet of air a minute to this basin. You can see them bubbling out there on the outer edge. And what it does is, over in this middle structure here, that's kind of where we store the bugs. So like it's called the return activated sludge chamber. So that's where all the bugs are really stored. And depending on how fast we run the pumps in there is how many bugs we're sending to the basin. So we have a target concentration, 4,000 milligrams per liter. And then we, send air for them to do their process. All we're really doing is we're trying to provide the conditions for nitrogen, nitrifying and denitrifying bacteria to do their job. So you got your influent flow coming in. Right now we have it set up so if I have 1 million gallons of influent raw wastewater coming to the plant, I want 1 million gallons of RAS as well, of the bugs. Out and it leaves the treated, biologically treated water to flow over the sphere. So once it's flowing over the sphere, we've gotten through the first biological step.
So you said yourself not too long ago, if we could pump all this water out, it's like what, 18 feet deep in the very center?
Yeah.
Roughly.
Yeah. And it's like sloped towards the center, and these arms actually have these big scrapers attached to them that run across the bottom of that. It's kind of like cone shape, and so those scrapers run around and direct it towards the center, and all those bugs, microbes that are concentrated at the bottom, go back to the RAS. So that's how it gets back there. So you're constantly reusing these bugs. But of course, like any organism, they reproduce, and then it can throw your concentration out of whack. Like I said, we want 4,000 milligrams per liter. We test that every day for each basin, and if it gets above that, you have to waste some of that. And that's that. Well, you can't see it from here. On the other side of the building, there's a big tank. We'll go check that out in a little while. But from the time that the water enters the plant, like in theory, if you were to follow 1 molecule of water, it should take 13 hours from the front of the plant back to the river.
Okay.
It has more in it. You can waste from one basin to another.
Okay. I see.
So we've had to do that before. Like when we got that basin over there painted, we had to reseed it later on. So anytime we wasted, and that was in the middle of summer, so it was a good time for it. The bugs reproduce a lot quicker in the summertime.
The temperature and
All that. So we were able to reseed it pretty quickly just by wasting from one basin to that one.
So there's not a lot of wasting going on right now though, because all 4 basins, it's colder and you're stretched out just a little bit.
Yeah. Don't have the flow like we normally do around this time of year. As you're coming in, if you look through the glass, those are our 4 blowers, so that's what's actually providing the air to the basins. We also have one in the office building, but this is just in this building. You can check out what's going on in the plant. They do plant checks every 2 hours, so it's nice to have something here to peek at while you're in the middle of the check. But I can see the whole plant and all the pump stations from here. So these are all of our pump stations, all 26 of them. So I can see how many pumps are running. Gives me all kinds of alarms for different kinds of equipment or something is having a problem. There I can see the dissolved oxygen content for each basin. I can control the content. I can control these blowers, how fast they're running.
And all that's done from here.
Yeah, here or in the office.
Okay. Wow.
There's the influence structure, so I can see how much water is coming into the plant, how much is going to each basin. You turn on pumps, automated. And, the DO at a set point, 1.9 milligrams per liter, and it pretty much handles that on its own. So it's going to ramp up these blowers or slow them down as needed. It'll switch a blower for me. Let's see, about 5.
All right, guys. So now that we've done a little bit of the part of all that, so like I was saying, now we're going to where people are going to put gloves on and squeeze all of the digestive part of the humans. So we won't probably show all that part, but we'll probably show some of parts of it.
Steering building. So all that sludge that we waste comes into that big tank outside, and then we can feed it across these belts. And all it is really is a series of rollers. There's two belts. The water comes in across one belt. Once it makes it across the top, another belt comes in, and when it goes through the rollers, it just squeezes the water out. When it comes out the back, it kind of looks like brownies or something. All that sludge gets sent over to the compost facility, and they just they mix it up with all like the leaves and limbs and stuff they pick up throughout the city. Turn it into compost, and then they sell it right back to the citizens.
All right, guys. So right now the class is checking out a bigger tank that is bigger and a lot of water and a lot of stuff that we don't want to show. But the class is just looking at it up there. Right, Cook? Right,
Yeah.
Cook? Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're lucky because, through this camera, you can't really smell anything. So, but being here right now, it is not really good smelling. So, but I think we have concluded the tour so far.
Because that sucker looked like it was really messed up.
Yeah, so I don't know if y'all saw on the back of the press, once the sludge has gone through those rollers, it just drops off into a trough in the back with a big screw conveyor that takes it out the side of the building, and then there's a screw conveyor that takes it up and then over to the trucks. That one that goes up, the gearbox is bad on it, so they're up there replacing that right now. Like I was telling one of you guys, this is kind of like a side quest, kind of, because it's not really part of the water treatment. It's what we do with the sludge that we wasted out later on. So anything that leaves here is going over to compost, and mix it up with the leaves and limbs and all that kind of stuff they pick up around the city, turn it into compost, etc. So the next step, we're going to go to the sand filters. So now we're back to treating. Kind of see over there, you can kind of see the cells, the different cells, and they're filled up with about 11 inches of sand each. Like they're supposed to be. Just big gaps. We're actually getting ready to have this one rebuilt the street. From each one of those basins that we saw earlier, they don't go to any specific one. They all just flow together in these four. And so the water, like for example, this one for Sand Filter 3, the water comes in over that gate. It's closed right now, so we're getting ready to have this one rebuilt. But the water would normally flow over that gate through a series of holes that go down along that wall into that main area behind her. It goes through the sand. There's some porous plates that actually support the sand, so it goes through the sand, through those porous plates. Sand captures all the trash, anything that might be caught in the water, and then it goes through there, and then through some holes out this wall. So it's like flowing in through the sand and then out that way. By the pond pumps, and the wind took that chlorine right over to them, and started having trouble breathing and had to get taken out by an ambulance. So after that, they started looking into some other ways to do it, and they got rid of chlorine, and we got a UV system, which we'll see next over there. You would inject chlorine over there in that corner. The water would flow through these, and it's kind of shaped this way just to slow the flow of the water down to give it about 30 minutes of contact time with the chlorine. And then once it would get through here, there's another chamber very much like this at the effluent structure, dioxide or something like that, to dechlorinate the water before it goes to the river, because you don't want to send the chlorine out in the river. If we, on a normal day like today, we're just flowing out to the river by gravity. It just flows down this channel. There's a center. But if we have if the river level is really high, or we got a flood or something, that water wants to back up into the plant. So we actually have to close the gate down there and turn these pumps on, and it'll force it out here. So that's what these three big pumps here are for. Those two smaller pumps are sending treated water back to the dewatering building, and that's helping to clean those presses when they're running. And then the two other pumps on the other side over there, that's actually sending the water. I'm pretty sure it's going to the golf course right at this moment. These are the old flood pumps. We don't use those as much anymore. These were the upgraded pumps. Yeah, water flows out through here on a normal day like today. It just flows out through here, down those steps, and out to the river.
We're here at the waterfall, guys. Finish the product.
As you can all see, we're about to be done finishing up with the tour. So now this is the final product of how the water looks. So as you can see, the water flows down. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. As you can see, my hair is all messed up now. But I really appreciate everyone for watching. I hope everyone got informed today how the water is treated here in Goldsboro area. But if you ever have a chance in your local community, always go to your water treatment facility and take a look. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see y'all later.